Hello everyone, my name is Sophie, also known as Chief Queef, and today I will be guiding you through a yoga sequence that is adapted to both beginners and advanced level yogi practitioners. So let's get started. We'll start in tabletop position, shoulders over hands, hips over knees. And you're gonna drop the belly, inhale, look up, you're a cow, no offense. And then exhale, tuck the chin and tailbone, navel draws towards the spine, you're a cat, hissing. Inhale, drop the belly, looking up, moo into the sky. And then exhale, hiss. Oh. Now pick up the pace a little bit, okay? Do what feels good here. Maybe it's the mobility of the spine. You might want to do some barrel turns with the rib cage. A yoga teacher once told me you want to imagine that your ribs are scraping the inside of the barrel, taking it into the other direction. Whew. What feels good? What feels good here? Is it the mobility of the spine? Is it the opening of the heart? Is it knowing that someone somewhere is thinking about your bum? Now exhale, curl the toes, bring those hips back, walk your hands towards your feet, and rise up slowly into a standing position. We're gonna do a couple sun salutations here. So we'll start with the first one, Sun Salutations A, or otherwise known as Surya Namaskara A. Plant all four corners of the feet into the mat, standing strong, shoulders lift up and back down the spine. Inhale, float the arms up, palms meet to kiss, greet the sun and say, hello daddy, and then hinge at the hips, forward fold. Okay. Inhale, halfway lift, hands on your shins. Spine is straight. Exhale, fold. Now we're here. If you're not flexible, give a little bend in your knees, okay? We want to focus on shining those hip bones back and up, almost like you're a baboon showing off its bright, beautiful red ass in the savannah. Rather than keeping your knees straight, your legs completely straight, and trying to reach as far down as possible, this is how you injure your lower lumbar, and you might end up looking like one of those pedestrians off of East Hastings Street in Vancouver. No judgments, but this is Uttanasana, not the Fenty fold, okay? Uttanasana. Now plant the hands down and step back into high plank. Now lower chaturanga, gazes forward, elbows locked into the sides. Inhale, shine those collarbones up. Up dog. What's up dog? Not much. You. And then curl the toes under. Drag that booty back for downward facing dog. Now take this time to pedal out the heels. Maybe take your dog for a little mosey, okay? And you're looking in between the legs. You're distributing weight in the fingertips and palms rather than the wrists. And I want you to imagine that you're a mouse and a giant toddler has picked you up by the tail. And the rest of your body is just surrendering to gravity. Now inhale, bend the knees, look forward. Exhale, step or hop to the front of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. And then rising slowly, one vertebrae at a time, back into standing position. Tada! Sana, samastitihi. All right, Surya Namaskara B. what you're gonna do, you're gonna ankle the heels, inhale, seat back as if you're hovering over a nasty porta potty at a music festival. Looking up as if you're holding a beach ball and looking at inspirational quotes on the wall, such as, "Don't sweat the petty stuff, pet the sweaty stuff." Dropping the shoulders away from the ears, core is engaged. This is basically just practice for everyday challenges such as this. Okay, now exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step back, or hop back into high plank. And then lower chaturanga. Shoo! Inhale, up dog. I'll say up. And then exhale, downward facing dog. Right foot, let's go. We're gonna plant that right foot in between the hands. The back heel is at a 45-degree angle, planted. Inhale, rise up, warrior one. Now, you might think, well, this might be the easiest warriors out of all the warriors that we do. But make no mistake, you should still feel like a bad motherfucker. Okay, it's Virabhadrasana, it's in the name. Dropping the shoulders away from the ears. Hips are square with the front leg. Tucking the lower rib cage in. Exhale, plant the hands to frame the foot. Step back into high plank, you know the drill. Shoo! Inhale, collarbones are shining. Exhale, take it back now, y'all. And now, left foot, let's go. Plant between the hands. Right foot at a 45-degree angle, lift up, inhale. You're fearless. You're strong. You could walk out on your job and trace your dreams if you really wanted to. Now exhale, plant the hands, step back, lower chaturanga, looking forward, elbows locked in. And take it back now, y'all. Cha-cha, real smooth. Inhale, look forward, bend the knees, exhale, step or hop to the front of the mat. Halfway lift. Hands on your knees, hands on your knees. Exhale, fold. And back into Utkatasana, porta potty pose. Quick porta potty pose. Quick piss, quick piss. And then exhale, rising up, Samastitihi. Now, living into that right leg, plugging that femur bone into the hip socket, kneecaps are lifted. Start to lift the left leg up like a flamingo. You're holding onto your knee perhaps. And then exhale, take a giant step back into a high crescent lunge, okay? Back heels are lifted, lower ribs are tucked in, back leg is straight. Now pivot that back foot so the toes are facing the long edge of the mat. Rest that heel down, rest that puppy down. And then sink into your warrior two. Shoulders are on top of hips. Hips are square with my window. Arms are aligned facing north, south, or east, west. I don't know where we are. Look past your middle finger. Warrior two. Now, I want you to give this warrior a name. Someone you look up to, someone who you think is very powerful. I don't know, and I want you to whisper that warrior to yourself. Erica Kirk. Just kidding. Sink deeper. Now I want you to straighten that front leg, pivot that front toe to match your back toe. Now you're slightly pigeon-toed here, you're straight-legged, you're wide-legged. You're kind of like you're shy, but you're still dominant, okay? Inhale, puff up the chest like a big bad wolf. Exhale, forward fold, blow the house down. All right, Prasarita A. You can stay forward folded here in Prasarita A. You can widen your stance a little further, or you can shorten your stance in if you're like me and your head's already touching the ground. You can take this time to lift and maybe fly into a headstand. I don't know, see where you're at. Now, if you stayed forward folded, clap with your hands. Give yourself a round of applause for showing up today. If you're upside down, clap with your feet. Woohoo! Kudos! Now come back down to earth. Exhale. Inhale, halfway lift. And if it's in your practice, bend your knees. Give a little bend in your knees. And maybe twerk here. Twerk a bit here. See how that feels. Flirt with it. Flirt with it a little bit. Exhale, grab the waist. Lifting back up. 5-pointed star. You're a star, baby. And then coming back to meet at the top of the mat in a standing position. All right, plugging into your left leg now. Inhale, rising up the right leg into that flamingo pose, grabbing onto your knee. And then exhale, swoop it back into that high crescent lunge. Here we go, you know what's next. Pivot that back foot, warrior two. Who's your warrior? Who's your daddy? Looking forward, looking past your middle finger. Fuck you. Now straighten that front leg and pivot that back heel in so both your toes are facing out now, okay? You're straight-legged here for a brief moment. Now start to drop that tailbone and pelvis down, bending the legs into a goddess pose. Hands are wide like a cactus shape. You're pinching a pencil in between your shoulder blades behind your back. Now, you may feel a little silly. Guess what? You look it. In fact, you look so ridiculous. Stay here, stay breathing. I remember my father took me to a public swimming pool and I walked around like this pretending I was a crab and everyone thought I was autistic, but really I was just doing goddess pose with claws. Now, just when you thought it couldn't get any weirder, inhale, scrunch your face up, eyes scrunching in, everything scrunching in, your face is really, really small, and then exhale, tongue wide, eyes wide, like the most unhinged lunatics that you are. Amazing work. Exhale, straighten the legs, coming back to the top of the mat. Tadasana once again. Take your feet out a little bit wider than hip width distance apart. Toes are straight forward. Hands at heart center. Inhale, arching the spine, chest is lifted. Clench those booty cheeks. And then exhale, dropping the tailbone right down. Whoo, got a little lightheaded there. Right down into a yogi squat malasana. Spine is straight here. Now this is a very useful pose, especially if you go camping quite frequently and you have to defecate in the woods. I like to give this little story, I like to give a little context behind that. I remember I was in the forest releasing my bowels in the nude, and it was quite serene actually. I could just hear the river flowing behind me. The ravens are gawking, my ancestors looking down on me like, yeah, that's the way. And then all of a sudden, someone's husky appeared out of nowhere. And at first I thought it was a wolf. And I thought, whoa, this is a very profound way to go. But then it started sniffing my shit and getting all up in my business. And then through the foliage, I could just see its owners, who could probably just see this, naked child with tits. And I said the most Canadian thing I could have possibly said. I said, sorry. And then they said the most Canadian thing. They said, no, we're sorry. It whipped out a doggy bag and picked up my poo. Now exhale, release the pose, standing back up. Maybe shake those hips out a bit. And then take this time to do whatever you're practicing. A little playfulness right now. Maybe you're practicing crow pose. Personally, I'm practicing a handstand, which I'm gonna try here. 1 second. Ooh, hold on. Oh my gosh, I had it yesterday, I swear. Oh my Lord. Nope. Well, not today, I guess. That's all right. Now, set your paws down, set that booty down, and take your feet out in front of you. Maybe shake your knees out, and then start to bend forward in a nice seated forward fold. I'm gonna get that handstand one of these days, I swear to God, on camera. I can do it off camera, but I just can't do it on camera because everyone is looking at me. But I swear to God I can do a handstand, just you wait and see. And then slowly start to recline onto your backs. Slowly, one vertebrae at a time. Ah, nice. You're on your back now. Thank God. Roll onto your side. Find stability in your lower leg, your torso. Maybe rest your head into your hand, your bicep. You're finding stability in your bicep. And then slowly start to lift your top leg to the heavens. Maybe grab a hold of your foot. This is Vishnu's couch pose. This is very provocative, this pose. This one gets the people going. Basically, Vishnu is a Hindu god. And one day he sat on a couch like this and he said, paint me like one of your French girls. And he could have gotten reported to HR if this wasn't so goddamn impressive. Now release that leg back down to earth and roll onto your belly quickly. And then lift your upper body back, find stability into your forearms. Shoulder blades are drawing down your back, looking up. You're as still as an Egyptian statue. This is Sphinx pose. Give it up for Sphinx pose, everyone. Now exhale, come to roll on your other side. Again, a little Vishnu action. Taking that leg up to the sky, maybe grabbing a hold of it. Maybe this side is stronger, maybe this side is weaker, who knows? Maybe, just maybe, you can try clenching your butt cheeks one at a time like Terry Crews does with his pecs, I don't know. Test it out, see what happens. Find out. Now exhale, release the leg back down. Come back, rolling onto your back. And then maybe lift the legs up. Feet are above your hips. You're grounding, you're gluing that lower sacrum into the earth. You can stay here in a waterfall pose, or you can start to lift your legs up even further, supporting the back into a shoulder stand. Here we go. Shoulder stand. Maybe point your toes, flex them, do what feels good. Maybe start to take your toes in like so. If you lift your Mula Bandha, your pelvic floor, and you're female with female genitalia, you can maybe like draw some air in, like almost like you're a turtle
because turtles breathe through their buttholes. And then taking yourself back up, and then slowly, one vertebrae at a time, some air might release from your lower crevices. Okay, it's a little queef, relax. Okay, they don't call me Chief Queef for no reason. And if you think that's gross, well, that's because you haven't opened your third eye chakra, and you better start aligning that shit before you start crying about it, okay? It's freaking natural, and it's a nice little cleansing technique, and I'm very one with my body. And then rock your knees side to side. Maybe do whatever remaining stretch you want to do. A little happy baby pose. Peekaboo! And then bring yourself into your final resting position. Feet are splayed wide. Fingertips are relaxed. Maybe your heart is shining up towards the heavens with your shoulder blades underneath, lifting it like a pedestal here. And just focus on the breath. If any outside thoughts start to arise, any outside noises start to arise, just notice them without any judgment, and come back to the rise and fall of the belly. Inhale the good shit. Exhale the bullshit. Nice. And just chill out. Shavasana, corpse pose. One of the better poses. Let me just try a handstand one more time. Thank God.